Thanks for joining us for today's webcast. Xpertdoc and Microsoft Windows Azure. It's now my pleasure to introduce our first speaker today, Janine Davey. You now have the floor, Janine. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for taking the time out of your day today to join us. My name is Janine Davey. I am a Partner Alliance Manager at Microsoft, focused on the Dynamics business, and wanted to take this opportunity today to introduce you to one of our key ISV partners, Xpertdoc. That's why you're here. Xpertdoc has recently developed a product, their Xpertdoc, that runs on Azure and offers a CRM online solution. They wanted to spend the day today to take you through that. So what we're going to do today is go through a series of introductions with the Xpertdoc team. Secondly, they're going to take you through MS Azure and CRM Online. They're going to also take you through Xpertdoc's document output automation. So taking you through what it is, what the integration looks like with Dynamics CRM, and their ability to go online in the cloud. And then we're going to have Chris Tully take us through a day in the life demos of business scenarios, and then getting started, how we can work together to win new business with existing clients. And then obviously we'll open it up for some Q&A. And so I'd also like to introduce you to the team that's on the phone or on the line with us, and that is Khalil Rajak, who is our partner account manager for Xpertdoc, who's helped put this together. We also have Versha Bhatt, who is the president of Xpertdoc, who will be speaking with us. And then Chris Tully, who is the professional services consultant, who will be taking us through the product detail. So with that, I'm going to pass it over, and thank you again for everybody for joining us today.
Thank you, Janine. This is Versha from Xpertdoc, and welcome everyone. By way of a little bit of background, I'd like to just share that Xpertdoc is now in its 12th year of business, leading the document output space amongst new technology players. We took a strategic decision about 3 years ago, and that was also a very natural extension of our MS Gold partner status, to create an out-of-the-box solution that integrated with the Dynamics CRM. Working with our partners and clients, we all discovered that the fit was very natural, and that rapidly brought powerful document design, generation, and distribution options to the Dynamics CRM environment. Today we work with many of the leading CRM partners of the Microsoft Dynamics ecosystem, several of whom I'm very pleased to see attending the call today. In this webinar, we'd like to share not only the direct benefits of offering the integrated solution to on-premises Dynamics CRM, but also the super fast, super easy onboarding and execution on Dynamics CRM Online. Our aim today is to help showcase how you, the CRM partners, can increase revenues, accelerate sales, and improve your own processes with document output automation. What we've been seeing with companies in many varying industries is that there are still many challenges encountered in trying to update legacy document generation and communication tools to bring productivity and resiliency to the business operations. So we'll take a little time to review the challenges of trying to create personalized contracts, quotes, correspondence from within the Dynamics CRM environment using those traditional approaches, and then share some best practices and expected benefits of using an integrated document output generation tool. Since we're offering this webinar to our Microsoft CRM partners, Xpertdoc in today's presentation will also share the partner package available for those who would like to join the partner network and realize the increased revenues from both new and existing CRM deployments. So I'd like to delve immediately into this topic with you. As we all know, Microsoft Word has been around as a document automation platform for over 20 years. Its success came in large part due to the feature-rich and intuitive nature of the platform, as well as its user-friendliness and prevalence in just about every organization. So it made it an easy platform to manage, adopt, and maintain. The real turning point for Word was in 2007, and it was a subsequent similar turning point for Xpertdoc. This was when Word leveraged a new file format called Office OpenXML to represent their new Office documents. And this is when Word really became a truly viable enterprise-strength platform. With the OpenXML as a basis for the file format, you're still able to continue to experience the benefits of traditional Word-based document automation, such as familiarity to business users, feature-rich and easy-to-use document creation interfaces, and continue to exploit your investment in the platform, both in regards to the software and user training. At the same time, the new Word file paradigm exposed a new set of opportunities and benefits that made using Word an even more viable platform for enterprises. This included much more improved performance that is robust and scalable, better integration options, and simplification of upgrades without reliance on the proprietary Microsoft Word .doc file format. We can now scale to meet the highest volume requirements, operate it as a server process, and at last removing the dependency on the desktop configuration. As a result, this has, of course, become a more reliable, dependable operation, and Xpertdoc leverages this in its operations. So I'd like to make sure that we're all speaking the same language here, really to make sure that we all understand what document output automation means. If you think in terms of any kind of document requirement you or your clients may have in a typical business day, do you write proposals? Well, that's a document. Do you write contracts for new clients? That's a document. Do you issue invoices for collection? That's a document. Do you write personalized letters? That's a document. So in any and all of these examples, you'll see the design of the required templates should allow users to leverage their own capabilities in working in Word while offering the power of integrating business rules, compliance standards, corporate branding, and other company policy standards into every communication piece. You can see here how corporate branding comes in within the template design. The compliance clauses are automated, and we'll be showcasing that later today with how that's run through the business rules engine, how you can pull data from directly within your CRM entities to bring real-time data integrated into those documents. Here we see a full document lifecycle that's been depicted here. When addressing these communications, it's important that we address each of these elements. So design, this is where the template is created and business policies are laid out for use in the document generation phase. This is things like branding, logos, compliance clauses, all driven by the rules engines and so on. Communicate, this is where the business user is enabled with the ability to generate the tailored documents that's based on specific interactions they've had with the client that still abide by the corporate rules laid out through the shared templates. Distribute, this is where the user again has the ability to disseminate the generated documents in a manner in which the recipient expects and requests, for example, PDF, print, file, email, HTML, SMS, and so forth. And then finally, there's compliance. Xpertdoc ensures there's the highest level of compliance is adhered to as per your company or government or regulatory requirements at every stage, so at the design, communicate, and distribute stages, compliance is integrated within those components. Xpertdoc is considered by industry analysts and partners to be a best-in-class solution in this space, where legacy tools are dying off and new entrants just can't seem to show that staying power with their light-use tools. I'd like to share a couple of reasons why Xpertdoc is regarded as a leader in the space. We were the first Microsoft partner to support every version of Office globally. We were the first to fully develop and leverage Dynamics CRM managed solution, SharePoint, and Azure in our offered solutions for enterprise. And we've been delivering document output on the cloud, leveraging the Azure environment for almost 2 years, and see delivery on mobile tablets coming on by the end of the year. So we're always continuing to push the envelope, extending the scope of document output to related areas of e-signature, high-stream print facilities, and both visual and content auditor capabilities. A few years ago, Xpertdoc decided to partner with another best-of-breed technology, and that's the Microsoft Dynamics CRM environment. We were looking for a way to bring life to stagnating projects and productivity and personalization to various CRM launch campaigns. We started working with a few select partners and eventually came to launch an out-of-the-box integrated solution with Dynamics CRM that would seamlessly bring that power of Xpertdoc to those CRM users. And we had tremendous success, and this continues today. Xpertdoc remains compliant and fully integrated with the new dynamic releases with as little as 1 or 2 hours for upgrade when the CRM environment is upgraded. Partners deliver value to clients, gain increased revenues from even long-standing mature accounts, and they're often seen as the heroes of the battle for more dynamic, personalized communications that don't need the traditional mail merge, SSRS, or reporting tools like Crystal Reports, and so forth. Against this background, we'd like to launch into a couple of real-life scenarios that leverages Xpertdoc solution from within the CRM environment. The experience is virtually the same whether you're doing this on-premise or online. We'd like to walk you through a couple of examples that will showcase some typical business scenarios that either you or your clients may be challenged with today. The ease with which the Xpertdoc solution allows business users to remain within the CRM environment while working with a Word document should become apparent. Chris Tully of Xpertdoc will lead the demos and will explain the business scenarios chosen as he navigates through to them. Chris, if you want to take control, it's all yours.
Great. Thanks, Varsha, and welcome, everyone. Like Varsha said, I'm just going to take a few minutes here to walk through some scenarios and then show you a little bit more about how Xpertdoc, along with CRM specifically and I guess in the background, Azure are leveraged to provide a very robust and efficient, effective application. So maybe just to set the background a little bit, as you move through your typical customer engagements and relationships, I think there are many points where you will interact with customers and you'll have a need for some sort of standardized piece of communication. And Varsha mentioned some of those a little earlier. I think from our history and experience, we see quite often where a lot of these templates or documents are on someone's local hard drive in their old email, or they're drawing from previous versions to customize it for the next version that they may need. So they're very haphazardly produced. I think that's what this often means, is there's very little consistency, control, or regulation of these documents, and I mean, this is the output that's going to your customers and representing your organization. So I think it's very important to sort of put some framework around that. Now, since Dynamics CRM really does a great job of modeling our customer relationships, it's really a natural fit to introduce that ability to create output right from within CRM and as something we can have access to throughout the process. So if you look at what I've got on the screen here, hopefully it's not unfamiliar to most of you. I've just launched a CRM environment that we're running on the cloud. And I've just gone into an existing account record. So you can see in the background here, I've got my active accounts, and I've gone into that particular record. And where we start to see the augmentation of this environment using the Xpertdoc capabilities is by the addition of this document output option on my left-hand side menu here. And you can see we now, fitting right in with the rest of the standard CRM features, we now have this document output option. And by clicking on that, it takes me to the area of this account record where I can, in fact, generate document output. So again, I'm starting with an account record, and I'm going to produce a document, an NDA document. So you may, as you're interacting with your customers, come to the point where, you know, it's not really maybe a qualified opportunity yet, but you are starting to share information. So you may need some confidentiality agreement in place. So I'm going to start with an NDA, and you can see here I have other options available at the account level. I could generate different types of documents, but I'm going to stick with the NDA. And by selecting that, I'm asked to provide some information. Now, this is information that either I'm just customizing because for the purposes of the demo, or it's information that may not be captured in CRM, so you might want to gather a little bit of extra information to provide to this NDA so that you can have a complete document. So I've gone ahead and entered some information. But also what's going to happen behind the scenes is it's going to take a template that I pre-created and consolidate that not only with the information that I would have potentially keyed in on this form here, but also the information that pertains to this particular CRM record that I'm on. So I went ahead and generated the document, and I'll just open it, and you can see when I bring it into view here that it's just launching in Word. You have options to produce documents in different formats, but I've just selected a Word document in this case, and you can see in a few places here, you can see it's pulling in the company name, which I believe was not very creative, but called a store. And then if you noticed on my form, the core business was making customers happy. So it's gone and drafted this document based on the information that I provided. I'm going to go ahead and close this, and we're going to kick it up a notch by really producing the same document, but this time going through an e-signature process. So one of the other things that we can leverage, we've had out-of-the-box integration for is e-signature. So I'm going to leave it basically the same and generate the same document. And not only is it going to generate that same document, but it's going to initiate the process of signing this document electronically. So there's information, and some of it you could see on the form here, email addresses and signatory names that will go into the dispatching of the e-signature process, such that I can route this document to various parties who may have an interest in signing it, so that I can get an approved document. And it's actually going to go through my email, so you won't see all of the steps that are happening live, but you'll notice that the first thing it's done is it's generated a document. This time it's in PDF format, because that's our base format for electronic signature documents. So it's the same thing. You can see it's the same document. Now, behind the scenes in my email, if I just pop to my email, actually this one first, let me close this one. It's provided me with a link because of the email addresses that I have associated with this e-signature process. It's gone ahead and emailed me and provided me with a link that I can go to provide my signature to this document. So by doing so, it takes me to a process that's initiated for signing this, and I can simply asking me to confirm that I want to go through this. So we'll just click through that, and it's guiding me through the process of providing my signature to this document. So in this case, you can see it's the name that I had on my base information for this request, and you actually have different options, but in this case, I've configured this to do what we call a typed signature. So instead of having it like being a pen signature, it's just something that we would type in, and it's equally as binding as far as the legalities of it go. And so I'm going to go ahead and complete this, and you can see if you look kind of behind there, you can see it's popped in a signature based on what I had entered in that box. So I'll go ahead and finish this step, and I don't need this guy anymore. And what's actually happened is it's gone and sent this document. It was a two-step signature process. It's gone and sent this document on to my second signatory. So again, I went to an email that had the link to this same process, and if I go walk through it again in the second stage, you can see already in the background there is that last signatory that was provided, but this is prompting me for a secondary signature. So in an NDA, there would be sort of a bilateral agreement, so you'd have probably two signatures required, so this kind of makes sense. Now, this is a little bit different than the last one I mentioned before, was a keyed-in signature. This is a pen-driven one, and it's mostly works best if you have a touch device, which I don't have, so I'm just doing it by the mouse, so it's going to look really not too good. So anyway, you would pen it in, and then again, it pops in the background there. And simply finishing the process will really cause this to be completed. And I can review the document right from here once I'm finished. If I were to open that and kind of go through it, you can see that those two signatures are now in place in the right spot in the document. So let me close this down, and I'll just point out one last thing before I move on to the second scenario here. If you there's a secondary step that happens is in that to help us track what's going on, in this case with this account, the completed documents are actually stored back to, in this case, the CRM notes section. So you can see in here there's the NDA PDF documents, same ones that I've created, and obviously I've done multiple versions of this over time. They all get logged into the CRM environment so that you have sort of this concept of managing what's going on with your account and what what binding documents may be in place, and then get stored there for record-keeping purposes. Okay, so I'm going to actually move to a second step within, if you think about the evolution of what an account relationship may look like, so we're kind of up front here doing an NDA. If we move on a little farther, maybe we have a developed opportunity now. So I'm in the same account, simply moving to my accounts entity here, and you can see, or sorry, my opportunities entity here, you can see I have an opportunity already created for this account. So very much like you saw, it's very much the same process where by launching that opportunity, I will once again have this additional option available to me in my menu here where I can produce document output. Now this is going to launch a slightly different selection of documents available to me, so I'm not on the account record anymore, so there may be certain documents that make sense at the opportunity level that didn't make sense at the account level, so I have those options available to me that make sense here. So I'm just going to pick this opportunity document and generate something a little different. Let me fill in some options here. I'm going to pick Quebec as the province for a particular illustration here, which I'll get to. I'm going to include an intro letter and maybe a custom logo. And let me see here. It's in the spirit of the season to say happy holidays here. And that looks good. We'll go ahead and generate this document. Because this opportunity is linked to different templates, it's in fact going to draw on a specific opportunity, and it's going to end up being a proposal type document. And it's going to draw in opportunity data as opposed to just the basic account data. So generated this document. If I bring it in here, let's make it a little smaller. So let me just point out a couple things here. So you noticed, like, if you were watching the options I selected to include a logo. So I've got a customer logo, in this case the A-Store logo, and it's actually a logo that's associated with that account in CRM. So I'm able to draw in, dynamically draw in this information associated with this particular account to populate my document tailored to the specific information of this account. So it's kind of nice in that sense. I can draw in that information. There's a picture here. That's not me, by the way, but there is a picture here for if you wanted to include images in your document. If I scroll through this, so again, there's some products associated with this particular proposal, so some products have been added to that opportunity within CRM, and you can see here that there's some pricing information that's also been printed out based on the product set that was selected. And then there's my happy holidays. The other thing I was going to point out is this last clause is actually a French clause, so that is triggered by a business rule within my template. Because I selected Quebec, I'm able to enforce that business rule that said bring in my French language clause so that I can make sure that this is compliant for the area or for the jurisdiction which I'm submitting this to. The last thing I would point out here, so this is just a standard Word document. So if you did have things that you wanted to further customize based on your particular needs for a particular proposal in this case, you have full availability of what you can do in Word. So if I for some reason didn't like my pie chart there and wanted to make it a whatever this is, a cylinder bar graph, I could do that. If I wanted to change the colors, I can do that. And I'm just in Word, so I'm able to tailor this further if I wanted to do such a thing. So I think that's what I was going to cover in the live demonstration piece. What I'm going to do here, if you just bear with me for 1 second, is I'm going to flip back to the slide presentation because I'm just going to wrap up with a brief word on specific customer case study. So actually, it's one I have a fair bit of familiarity with because actually working with them directly on their implementation. But Prologis is a very large logistics and property management company, and they produce lease documents, and they have a very geographically dispersed user community. And in working with them and analyzing their needs, it was imperative, really mandatory for them to have a cloud-based solution. So their management didn't want any on-premise. They thought, the way to go was cloud, and they thought they would reap significant benefits from that. So some of the things they were able to achieve by deploying on the cloud versus on-premise, certainly the ability to support their user base all over the continent really was much easier by using a sort of centralized cloud-based solution. They didn't have to worry about deploying over the web or security and all the configuration that would go along with hosting a broad-based application. Certainly their acquisition and startup costs were significantly less than an on-premise environment would have been. Also, the deployment was much quicker, and I guess most importantly, probably from their perspective, was less intensive for their already overtaxed IT resources. They didn't have any really infrastructure costs. They didn't have to procure any additional infrastructure. They were also concerned about the uptime, and I don't know them off the top of my head, but I know the Azure environments have very stringent SLAs with 99.9999 uptime guarantee. So the system is really bulletproof, and that's something that's very important to them. And as well, they foresee growth, so I think they really see the benefits of over the cloud being able to scale efficiently, quickly, and without huge costs associated with it. So they really saw both near-term and long-term benefits of deploying on the cloud. And so if you are interested in learning more about this, there is a case study published jointly by Xpertdoc and Microsoft that sort of details what the problem was and how we went about deploying Xpertdoc over the Microsoft or Windows Azure cloud to meet their requirements. And I think with that, I will turn it back over to Varsha.
Thank you, Chris. So I hope from the day in the life demos and details shared on the Prologis case example, I trust you've all got a better understanding of how businesses, both your own and those of your clients, can realize huge productivity gains. Our clients report upwards of 80%, and of course there's associated cost savings, typically well over 70%. And these clients come from a variety of industries. I could share some that you may recognize, which is Husky, which comes from manufacturing, the Symetra Life Insurance, which is, of course, insurance, TD Insurance, which is more on the P&C side, CARA, British Columbia Government, Alberta Appeals Commission, all government bodies. So these are just some of the groups using Xpertdoc today, and you can I'm sure envision environments amongst your client opportunities that would make sense. In these and other scenarios, you can also see now that the end-to-end execution of transactions can be launched directly from within the CRM environment. This means that business users are better enabled to follow through on their activities with rapid, relevant communications that, of course, link directly back to their CRM entities and files. Of course, the question now remains, what does this mean for your business? Well, that's what I'd like to take a few minutes now to address here just before we wrap up. There's opportunities for you as CRM partners to increase revenues. So what does that mean? That's with Xpertdoc and offering the document output capabilities to your existing clients. You can certainly deepen the reach inside that client organization, both with additional work as well as partner commissions. There's the opportunity to accelerate sales. So if you've been providing focused point solutions that address real customer pain points, the adoption rate rises. You can offer them ready-made templates and off-the-shelf scenarios that are available immediately off the cloud that will help you win that net new business. You can also improve your own internal processes. So by taking advantage of a free internal use partner license from Xpertdoc, you can now provision sample content, so you can thereby save time and accelerate your own revenues. You can send tailored collateral to your new prospects, which you can, for example, quickly execute an NDA agreement. You can assemble and send tailored proposals at a fraction of the time that it's taking you today. And, of course, you can get recognized. A big part of this is getting your key personnel started on your company's accreditation as a document output center of excellence. There are reward points, certification as a document output expert, training, accreditation, and much more that forms part of that package. So if we consider your existing CRM clients, what can you do to help them? Well, you can show them that an integrated solution which launches from within the CRM environment that they've already got will then allow them to create dynamic contracts, invoices, proposals, letters that incorporates the multiple CRM entities, the business rules engines, and dynamic data from CRM. As well as you saw with Chris's presentation, you can incorporate logos, images, graphs to make it much more vibrant as a document. You can then show them immediately how best not to lose the existing investment that they've made in that CRM and continue to gain further economies and productivity. You might be looking at new opportunities and how you can actually court them and get them to bring their business to you. So what can you offer that is new to these opportunities, that is relevant, that's quick and easy to demonstrate, and that will offer rapid ROI to those clients? Well, providing these clients with an easy self-registration package on the cloud, it's really as simple as entering in your Facebook account, that lets them play with the processes to create powerful representative contracts, invoices, proposals, with those dynamic components that we talked about earlier, the data, the graphs, images, and charts, that allows them to personalize the sample content by themselves. And this way you can actually have those new opportunities that you're courting come to you with their business in a faster time frame. So how do you get started? Getting started with Xpertdoc is actually very simple. You can sign up for your free partner account, and it's an Azure profile as easy as using your Facebook account. It's the http trial.xpertdoc.com URL that you see in front of you. And if you log into there are explanatory notes to take you through that environment. Or you can contact us directly to find out how you can join both the Xpertdoc partner family and develop your team as core certified trainers. For more information on how you can become a licensed referral or integration partner, or how to become a certified document output expert or trainer, while we use all of the usual social media suspects that you see there, Facebook, LinkedIn, email, Twitter, Pinterest, and of course there's the Microsoft Dynamics Marketplace, we are definitely present on all of those environments. If, however, you still enjoy the personal approach, you're also invited to contact me at any time directly by phone. We still use that as well. So with that, I think that brings us really to the end of our formal presentation portion of the webinar. Janine, Rob, Khalil, Chris, and I are all available to take any questions from the group as those questions are coming through. While we're waiting for those to pop through, I would like to share the results from the poll that we launched at the beginning. The first question, which was about the time it takes you to generate a proposal, I believe we had 66% were showing that it takes over 30 minutes. Another 12% was in the 10 to 30 minute time frame, and there were about 10% were reflecting it in under a minute. So I think with what you've seen with the presentation with Chris, I hope you've seen that those kinds of time frames can rapidly be reduced. The feedback we're getting from our clients is that it's 10 times improved over what their traditional approaches were. Things that were taking, a day or a half a day to generate a proposal are now being done well within a few minutes. The second question on whether you're able to incorporate any of the graphs, images, beyond just pure data into your proposal, 75% came back saying no. And once again, I hope you've been able to see through the demonstration that Chris led that it's very easy to incorporate that when you're using the Xpertdoc solution that leverages both Word and CRM. I'm just trying to navigate here to see if we've got the questions coming in. We've got one that, Chris, perhaps you can take that question on what versions of Word are supported by Xpertdoc.
Yep, so basically the requirement for Word is that it has to support the new file format of the OpenXML, the docx file extension. So anything Word 2007 or up will be fine.
Okay. There's another question. What is required to design templates that are used to create output?
Yep, so that's a good question. Really,
Chris, would you like to take that?
Yep, sure. Can you hear me? Hello?
Yep, hearing you fine.
Chris, are you there? Sorry. You might be on mute.
Apparently Barsha can't hear me. I'll go ahead and answer. Really the only thing that's required...
I think we might have lost Chris, but I can certainly add value to that question. Really, it's the template designer. The template designer launches with Word, so the capabilities are all within the Xpertdoc template designer. Typically, we see collaboration across different platforms that allow you to bring different groups in. Oh, I'm sorry. So is anybody hearing me?
Yes, we can hear you, Varsha.
I'm sorry. I think we're having some technical issues.
Varsha, we're hearing you fine on this side.
Okay. I was just told I was talking over Chris.
Yes.
So I apologize for that. I think there was something went wrong on my audio. Chris, please proceed. I'm sorry.
No, you're bang on, so it's great. So, yeah, I mean, essentially the only thing you need, and you know, it's nice, especially if you're deploying in the cloud, so the only piece that would live on a client side is a small add-in for Word, so which we call the template designer add-in. So it simply sits on top of Word. As we mentioned earlier, you need a Word 2007 or higher application, and your templates live and breathe as Word docx documents, so there's really nothing, you know, overly proprietary or sophisticated about that. You can open them in Word. Even if you don't have the designer, you can still open them. You just can't, you know, do the designing functions, some of the enhanced design functions that having the add-in offers you. And then once you're done that, you know, what might not have been completely obvious from the demonstration is the hook of the Xpertdoc piece into the CRM system is actually our Xpertdoc web application, which, you know, also is living on the cloud in this environment. So you simply deploy those templates that you're developing in Word to that cloud environment, and then, you know, once that's all configured to talk together, the Xpertdoc cloud piece will talk to the CRM piece, and so on and so forth. So it's pretty lightweight in that sense. And we can also generate old format Word documents. So let's say you're in an organization where people are still, you know, using Word 97 documents for some reason. We can generate to those old formats as well if that's necessary. Really, it's the design tool that requires the newer versions of Word. Equally as well, I mean, and what we see probably most commonly is, you know, generating to things like PDF as well. So that's all supported out of the box, a whole host of output formats.
That's great. And Chris, I was actually, I think, taking a slightly different tact in terms of the design of the templates and talking about the collaboration platform. So this does not have to be an IT initiative. Oftentimes we'll find the business users will collaborate in the design of a template. You might get legal involved in some of the clauses and compliance. You might have marketing for branding, logos, layout, and then you might have operations or business professionals involved in the content. So both, it makes it a very usable tool across the organization. The key elements are locked down, and then that template is launched to the business community from within CRM for them to then generate the templates. And then we have one final question, it seems, that's coming through, which is what can be done about templates that already exist for clients that we may wish to integrate into the Xpertdoc solution? So, Chris, would you want to pick that up in terms of the migration and the support services around that?
Yep. So we've actually gone to a fair bit of effort to really take a look at platform migration. So we recognize there's a bunch of legacy platforms out there, and we've developed some processes as well as some automation around being able to sort of ingest some of these proprietary platforms, or some of these legacy platforms, sorry, and make them into Xpertdoc templates. So it involves a few things. We have some really sophisticated content decomposition and auditing tools, so it really allows us to drill down into documents and figure out what they're actually doing and what the little bits and pieces of them are. And that way we can develop what we would call like a migration roadmap. So it's taking those bits and pieces, doing whatever we would need to do with them to get them into the Xpertdoc format. So again, there's some not only automation, but we've got some processes around executing that type of migration, as well as testing. So on the back end, and we briefly mentioned content auditing earlier, we have a content auditing tool which allows us to do really very detailed comparisons of sort of before and after, so that, you know, as you're migrating from one style of document to another, not only can you make sure that you've accounted for all the little bits and pieces that need to be converted, but also that you can compare the before and the after to make sure you haven't lost anything along the way.
Great. And I see one more question that's really about the partnership again and how to get that started. So I'll just bring us back to a previous slide. Becoming a partner is very easy with Xpertdoc and joining that family of partners. First of all, going on to the trial.com, the trial.xpertdoc.com environment. There's no charge for that. It allows you to get up there and get a flavor of how to use Xpertdoc. To become a licensed referral or a systems integration partner, please feel free to reach out to me directly. We have a simple process that we certainly delve into. There's no cost to becoming a partner. There is a commitment required, which is really more on the go-to-market strategies. You do get internal licensed copies to use as well for your internal teams, so you could be generating your own proposals using Xpertdoc and showcasing that to your clients as part of your standard business processes. And, of course, getting trained and certified leads right off of that as well. And as I mentioned, here are our contact details, so feel free to reach out to us. As I said at the beginning of the webinar, I noticed that a few of our partners actually joined for this call, so I do appreciate their attendance and participation. We also appreciate the work that we do together in taking this message out to their clients. And I welcome all the others that have attended this session to please reach back, and hopefully we'll see you joining up in our family as well. I think that's it for the questions. Unless any of the other commentators have anything further to say, I think this is a good point for us to wrap up. And I believe, Otto, you will take control of the webinar to make sure everyone closes out cleanly.
Yep, thank you, guys. Definitely a lot of great information there today. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and pull us over to a survey here. Feel free to go ahead and fill this out as appropriate. There's a couple of links. This is essentially a portal to the survey, so simply select the appropriate link there, either registered or online, or all other registrants based on how you registered for today's event. With that, that does conclude today's audio portion of the webcast, and thank you very much. Have a great day.